And actually,
But you called me average after
You
1
are
minute.
average.
You called me after 1 minute of my first professional fight.
No, but you're still average. You're not.
It's not true. I just beat a 5-time world
beat
champion.
a UFC.
Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'll do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean?
I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing.
It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul.
Eddie Hearn confronted Jake Paul live after he called out Anthony Joshua, calling it a wild moment. While Hearn didn't take it too seriously, he admitted that Jake Paul knows how to create big money-making fights. Even though people still doubt Paul's boxing skills, his ability to create hype and attention is clear.
No updates really. I believe the two of them spoke. I mean, it sounds wild. At the moment, AJ doesn't have a World Heavyweight Championship. He's not trying to unify, so would he do it? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a huge money fight. It's a straightforward job. And, you know, Jake Paul likes to create these wild moments, and that would certainly be a wild moment. But, you know, then he threw in 2026 at the end. I wish he'd just do it in 2025 if he wanted to do it. So I don't take it too seriously in that respect right now. Do I think Jake would do it? I think he's mad enough to do it, yeah. So we'll see, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If it does, great.
Is there any part of you that almost feels a bit reluctant to give Jake that opportunity in a sense?
Really? Because if you have that kind of mindset, you'll always butcher yourself. You know, that's what I say to fighters as well. Don't worry about what they're getting. Worry about what you're getting, and worry about what this opportunity is bringing. Jake Paul could make hundreds of millions for that fight. Good luck to him. But so, yeah, don't do it because you're giving him the opportunity to do it. He's fine. Let him have it because we're having what we're having. Thank you very much. Bosh, 1 round knockout. See you later. Raided the bank, and that's what would happen in that fight. So, yeah, if he's wild enough to do it, never say never.
Jake Paul has not only challenged Anthony Joshua to a fight, but also said boldly that Joshua doesn't have a chin and no skill. This statement has made many boxing fans and experts angry, especially because of Joshua's strong career, many championship wins, and tough fighters like Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Usyk. Many people think Paul is just trying to get attention by showing disrespect to an experienced professional.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Renowned boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has dismissed Jake Paul's boxing skills, calling him an average fighter. Hearn has often questioned if Paul has what it takes to fight at the top level, especially against someone like Anthony Joshua. He says that even though Paul has gotten better over time, he is still far from the level needed to face top heavyweight fighters.
Is Jake Paul good for the sport of boxing?
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean, Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart. Okay. We have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. I'm thinking, am I mic'd up here?
Eddie Hearn also talked about how Jake Paul has made wild claims, like saying he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn thinks this claim is crazy and believes Paul is thinking too highly of himself. While Paul has beaten some former MMA fighters and boxers with less experience, the idea that he could take on top-level fighters like Canelo or Joshua sounds funny to many boxing experts.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in France, I think Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or, you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor. Like, you know, it can't happen.
When asked about Jake Paul's challenge, Anthony Joshua reportedly laughed it off, saying that Paul is only doing it to stay relevant. Joshua believes that Paul needs relevance insurance to keep his name alive in the boxing world, as fighting a superstar like Joshua would bring huge publicity and money for Paul. Over the past few years, influencer boxing has become very popular, with big pay-per-view numbers. However, the boxing world is now trying to focus more on real professional fights and move away from influencer events. Still, the mix of professional boxers fighting influencer fighters continues to bring excitement, attract new fans, and keep younger audiences interested.
We were involved in the sort of earlier days of that influencer world. We did the second Logan Paul KSI fight in LA. Numbers were huge. We did Jake Paul's professional debut in Miami in 2019 around the Super Bowl. And then I think we made a decision to move away from it, because I think the focus of our business was we got to just keep focused on professional boxing. Maybe in 10 years we'll look back and go, crazy, should have kept on doing that.
He genuinely thinks he's a world-class fighter. Like, he thinks.
So that's not bullshit.
No, he comes up to me at that fight and he's going, you know, I beat Canelo. And I was like, and I looked at him. I was looking for his mic, you know, because I thought maybe he wants to capture a bit of this for social content. Yeah. And he's not wearing one. And I'm like, I'm looking for a camera, and there's no camera. I went, what? And he went, oh, I will beat your boy, Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, Jesus. Mate, you are. Because he's got all these guys in the gym, like, telling him he's, you know, and he's not. But he didn't like it, because I said to him, you're average.
Yeah, I remember seeing an interview with that.
I said, that's a compliment. Like, there's a 95.
I'm being nice to you.
I said 95% of fighters are average. Yeah, but he's better than some pro fighters like that. I thought that was a big compliment, but he didn't like it.
He didn't love it. No.
Eddie Hearn recently confirmed that Anthony Joshua is dealing with an injury and won't be fighting until at least August. Joshua was originally supposed to fight Daniel Dubois, but the injury has delayed that fight. Even with this, Jake Paul still called him out, which made many people wonder if Paul is really serious about the fight or just using Joshua's name to get attention.
Anthony Joshua to return, but we've heard absolutely nothing about it. Now, the Daily Mail are saying that Anthony Joshua is actually injured. Return timeline: as Eddie Hearn reveals, the heavyweight is unable to enter even training camp due to an injury setback. Anthony Joshua's estimated return date has been detailed after Eddie Hearn reveals the heavyweight has suffered from a setback. The Brit has been out of action since he lost against Daniel Dubois in Wembley last September. With his future up in the air on the back of the devastating knockout defeat, fans have been curious to know as to what his next move is, with no announcements made, despite reports he could face longtime rival Tyson Fury as soon as this year. Now, however, it's been revealed that Joshua is dealing with an injury, as revealed by Eddie Hearn, when asked if Joshua could face Dubois in a rematch after the champion pulled out of his fight against Joseph Parker due to illness. Let's carry on. That's kind of a bit more of a miscellaneous stuff. No rematch with Dubois will be happening anytime soon, though, Eddie Hearn revealed, as he details when fans can expect Joshua's return to the ring. So we won't be seeing Anthony Joshua in the ring against Daniel Dubois for a rematch. That's not going to happen. I'm going to quote Eddie Hearn here directly. Now, it's interesting because Eddie Hearn hasn't really revealed much detail on it, but bear with me. It says, not a lot to report. Not a lot to report. Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn told IFL from Australia, look, he resumed training, and to cut a long story short, without going into too much detail about any injury, he's not really ready to start camp. He needs another 8 weeks or so on his injury.
David Benavidez has said that Jake Paul is one of the biggest names in boxing when it comes to getting attention and selling fights. While many boxing purists criticize Paul's skills, Benavidez believes that his presence in boxing brings excitement and creates money-making chances. Former world champion Carl Froch doesn't take Jake Paul seriously as a boxer. Froch says Paul doesn't really know how to box and just jumps around the ring. After watching Paul's fight against Tommy Fury, Froch called it a complete mismatch and said that Paul is far from being a real contender.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just, everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
MMA fighter Darren Till has weighed in on the controversy, calling Jake Paul's challenge of Anthony Joshua disrespectful. He believes that despite Paul's marketing skills, he hasn't earned the right to challenge one of boxing's biggest names. Many in the boxing community share Till's view, feeling that Paul is stepping too far out of his league.
Oh, is it all just, does he actually believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua? Is it all for clout? Is it all just to keep his... I don't know. I mean, fucking... It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't fucking been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul. But look, if Jake Paul believes in himself, then, you know, you can't really fault that. Like, obviously, but sometimes it comes across as a bit delusion as well. Because I know for the fight Jake, I'd beat him up easy. Not easy, I'd beat him up though. And
a lot of boxing fans are excited to see Anthony Joshua fight Jake Paul, not because they think it will be a competitive match, but because they want to see Paul get humbled in the ring. Paul's constant call-outs of legendary fighters have upset many purists, and a fight with Joshua is seen by many as a chance to put him in his place.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen, just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high level boxers even though he lost to Tommy Fury is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua has sparked strong reactions from the boxing world. Many experts and fans think that Paul's goal of fighting a former heavyweight champion is unrealistic and too ambitious. Some believe he is doing it just for attention rather than actually thinking he could win.
Real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects in Jake. But in the middle there, I don't know if she would know or, you know, whatever, but she essentially says that Jake was scheduled to fight Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Rafael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Despite the criticism, Jake Paul has boldly called himself the only real fighter in boxing. He says he is the one bringing excitement and drama to the sport, positioning himself as a key figure in modern boxing. While some admire his confidence, others see it as arrogance. Jake Paul has built a reputation for calling out legendary fighters and offering them big paydays. Even after losing to Tommy Fury, Paul still claims he is the biggest draw in boxing. While this strategy has worked for marketing, many believe he is overestimating his importance in the sport.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see. So Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to. So
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like, he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
Eddie Hearn has said that Anthony Joshua isn't fighting as many big fights anymore and is getting closer to the later stages of his career. Because of this, Hearn thinks a fight with Jake Paul could be an easy money grab for Joshua, especially with the huge financial appeal of such a match. If the fight were to happen, it would make a lot of money, and experts believe it could be one of the highest-grossing boxing events of the year. The financial rewards alone make it an attractive matchup, even if the actual fight seems one-sided.
You have said that Jake Paul and AJ could be a thing in the future, or at least when asked the question, you asked to make sure his insurance was okay. Is that a possibility?
I mean, look, AJ's not a world heavyweight champion anymore, so we're not chasing unifications and undisputed. Like, would we fight Jake Paul for a huge amount of money? Yes. I mean, it would just be an easy night's work. I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest with you, and it's such a chronic mismatch. But Jake Paul's the kind of, he's so money orientated and attention orientated that he would do something silly like that.
Some boxing analysts believe that Jake Paul isn't serious about fighting Anthony Joshua and is just playing mind games. They think Paul is using these callouts as a marketing trick to stay relevant in boxing without actually taking on tough fights. Many people in the boxing world feel that Paul's challenges to established professionals like Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez are disrespectful to the sport. While Paul has built a successful career in influencer boxing, challenging world champions seems excessive and unrealistic to many.
Potentially Anthony Joshua even giving any credence to this nonsense.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call it like Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake
Paul. A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddled with this, does he?
No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money he'll probably ever make if it does happen. And because of his profile that Jake Paul has, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, he's got a huge profile. That's the only reason why the question will be entertained.
Can I ask you, Paul, about what your view on the Joshua situation is? We've seen him obviously lose to Usyk.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.